How's it going, everybody? Have you ever bought a project and wondered what in the hell you're doing? Because it's gonna take that much work. Whether it's a house, a boat, a mini bike, motorcycle, mail order bride, you know it's gonna be a royal pain in the ass, but you still buy it anyways, solely because of the fact that you love it and you don't care what anyone else thinks. That's the project I bought here, and I'm gonna show you guys in a minute. But I also want to give an explanation here. Now, I haven't done a longer length video in a little while. And this one is just an introduction, so don't expect me to start turning wrenches anytime soon. Long story short, this year, I really haven't released a whole lot other than shorts, and that was mostly stuff at different tractor shows, engine shows, car shows, stuff of that nature. Then this fall, I came back from a tractor show, and I was attacked by my friend's neighbor. I don't know if he was on drugs, I don't know what was going on, but he came at me with a knife, cut me up pretty good, and since then I really haven't done anything. So that's a story for a different date. I'm not going to go into grave detail on that because of the fact that it is still going to trial. So I don't want to do anything that could jeopardize that. But long story short, I only got one hand for pretty much the rest of the winter. So without further ado, let me show you this next project, which I will be working on as soon as the weather gets better and I feel better. Ladies and gentlemen, this here is the Larkin Jobber. Now, Larkin is a company, late 60s, early 70s. They were in that mini bike craze. They made some weird oddity style mini bikes. One, they had a dual rear wheel drive in line. They had a small, I forgot what the name of it was, but snowmobile that was fiberglass body, and it had a Tecumseh engine in it. So they made stuff based around the mini bike style. And this here is a little cargo bike they did. It's got two steerable wheels in the front, a decent sized little cargo bed. Originally it would have a hinge drop gate, now it's currently bolted on. And a little mini bike style frame. Either would have had a 5-horse Briggs or Tecumseh, scrub brake, chain drive. Very simple, very rudimentary, but that was kind of their style. It was different, it was odd. Other people weren't really doing it. I know that there were Cushmans and other motorcycles even that were like this, but there weren't any mini bike companies that did this, so they gave it a shot. I don't think they did very well because I only can find pictures or information of about 4 or 5 others, and that's spread over well over a decade of different internet bits that I could find online. A couple of them were on oldminibikes.com, the forum. So it's definitely an odd piece. Like I said, it has steerable fronts. It actually has a large center mass going down, and got linkage going over to one side and then a rod connecting to the other side. So very simple. And this actually belonged to a friend of mine, my buddy Marty, and this came from his family farm down in Indiana. And he had this when he was a kid, and apparently they beat the ever-living snot out of it. This was their go-kart, this was their toy. And it was used, it was abused, and then it sat out in the hedgerow for quite a while. And then, out in the tree line, I guess I should say. And then he ended up grabbing it from the family farm and brought it up to his place here in Wisconsin. And it sat there for quite a bit longer. And I saw it many years ago, pestered him about it. He didn't want to sell it. It was a family heirloom. I understand that. So I started pestering him more and more and more until finally he got sick of me and we made a deal and I brought it home. Now, this thing is rough. I'm not saying it's not. I'm going to do a video. I'm going to flip it up on its nose here and we'll take a look at the underside. But it's been sitting out in the elements, uncovered, covered in leaves, moss, who knows what else. It's in rough shape. But there's enough good bones here. I do believe I could make it a fun little bike again and make it pretty close to what it was original. Alright, so here's the bike, trike, whatever you want to call it, standing up on end. You can see how the steering is set up. It's very simple. A little bent, a little bojangled. No suspension of any kind. And that steering rod is like right down and in the way. You hit anything, it's going to get bent. And you can tell that side's been boogered a little bit. Anyways, she's got a little rust, you know. Use my strong hand. And yeah, bottom of the tubes, pretty shot. And look at the sprocket. That's gone. So hopefully I can take this over to my buddies at the machine shop and they can cut off that sprocket and put a new one on there. Either that or I'm just gonna have to take a little bit of creative liberty and find a replacement rear wheel. It's actually a fairly wide one, but I do have Gilson aluminum wheels, multiple of them, and I can even put a drum brake on the one side very easily. So that might be an opportunity of improvement. Not original, but if you don't like it, you can swap out an axle bolt at a later date, right? Scrub brake, completely shut. Like, I mean, that rusted off. It's in the container here. You can see the pad there. But it's, yeah, it's rough. If I want to do it right, I'm gonna have to do quite a bit of welding. This tub is probably gonna end up having to get cut off. You can still see some of the original green on there. They've been painted orange over it at one point. But I have to find somebody that can do some sheet metal work and bend up a new tub. The handlebars have been broken and repaired, and I'm going to talk to a buddy of mine that's a tubing bender. We're going to see if we can remake a set of handlebars, maybe a little bit taller so that they don't hit your knees when you're actually riding this thing. But overall, though, the frame looks pretty stout. You can tell where there should be a grease cert. Hopefully that's not just one giant ball of rust in there. Hopefully that'll come free. The biggest pain in the butt's going to be replacing this, body here, the cargo tub, whatever you want to call it. So, yeah, against my better judgment, I decided to trade a hit and miss motor for it. And I mean, it is a very rare machine, so I'm not going to find another one in my lifetime, more than likely. So I'm going to start spraying it down with some PB Blaster and get it drug around back. This thing's going to financially ruin me, among all my other projects.